Hi guys, this is Michael from Nomadic Insights. In today's video, we're going to look at whether or not the Amex Gold card is worth it and what you can expect in terms of first year value. So in my analysis of the Gold card, I kind of ran through my daily drivers. I've got a 2% unlimited cashback card, and then I've got an Amazon Prime card since I'm a Prime member. So I have a Whole Foods really close to me, so I would get 5% back since that's where I do most of my grocery shopping. So looking at the Gold cards, 2 Prime benefits, which are going to be your 4x categories on dining out, and then your 4x on grocery stores. I've looked at spend in those 2 areas to answer the question, is the Amex Gold worth it? And then I've assumed that you're going to be doing the minimum amount of spending to earn the introductory bonus to answer the question, is the Amex Gold card worth it? So in terms of my analysis, I often hear that you should target 2 points or about 2 cents per point through American Express's program using transfer partners and all that other good stuff. Problem with the transfer partners is you do need to do a lot of legwork in order to get those points at a 2-cent per point transfer value. So when you're looking in at that, I assume it's probably more realistic that you're going to end up at a 1.5 cents per point, which is closer to the Chase Sapphire Reserve without really using transfer partners in order to maximize your point value. So if you're trying to maximize points and you're trying to get a better multiple for your spend, that's going to be a little bit more of an outlier case here. So that is a lot more spreadsheet crunching, which I'm assuming most people probably don't want to do. They're looking for a card that's going to reward them with a minimum of effort. So I think 1.5 is a more realistic and attainable value for most people. Now, with that in mind, let's just go over a few numbers in our spending situation. So I've assumed that you're eating out in this scenario at $400 per month, which for a couple is pretty doable, assuming one $100 date a week. So that takes you to $4,800 in total spend throughout the course of a year, and then $700 for 2 people at Whole Foods for groceries on a monthly basis is not that difficult to hit, as it's colloquially known as whole paycheck. So that's going to take your entire spend over the course of a year. I'm assuming you're also only using the Amex Gold card for your 4X categories. So that's going to take you to $13,200 in spend on your Amex Gold card. So what that means is we can assume you're going to get 52,800 points on the Amex Gold card. So for everyone at 2 cents a mile, you can expect, without intro offers, about $1,056 in anticipated value just from having your Amex card. That doesn't include the credits you get at $240 in credits a year. Again, I'm assuming you're probably going to eat out once, so you should be able to take advantage of the dining credits. Thankfully where I live, we also have a Cheesecake Factory, so my fiance really loves cheesecake, so we'll be getting her those. So for us, that really adds an additional value. So if you're looking at the membership fee of $250 plus those other categories of spend at 2 cents per mile, you're going to end up at about, just with base, no credits, you're going to end up at $1,056, assuming 2 cents per point. Now, realistically, you're going to probably be closer to 1.5 cents per point, which is going to be $792 in anticipated value over the course of a year. That's not bad ROI, especially once you factor in the credits if you're using things like Uber and then dining out regularly. So that's going to net you an additional, that's going to net you an additional or an anticipated cost on the card of like $10 a year. So once we adjust that out, you're looking at $782 net on the card. That's pretty good. So from a mathematical point of view, if you're maxing your 4X categories, yes, the Amex Gold pays for itself, assuming you have a family of 2. But once you have a larger family of like 4 people, if you're eating out more than $400 a month, if you're at a higher income bracket, this card quickly begins to pay for itself based on anticipated point value. Now, again, if you're going to get a 1.25 or a 1 multiplier or 1 point per mile, 1 cent per point, the card is still better than a daily 2% cashback card, at least on the core categories. And then once you factor in the additional credits, you're really looking at a lot of potential value. Now, where the card really begins to become worth it is with the actual intro offer with 60,000 Amex points. So you're looking on the high end at 2 cents per mile. If you're going to do a really strategic redemption through the points portal, you're looking at $1,200 in anticipated value. So that brings us to 2 cents per point. You're looking at $2,256 in anticipated value. Again, that's very good value for a $250 outlay. And again, you're going to be able to get this back. So you're basically going to 10x your $250 in year 1. So you're going to get 10 years worth of value within your first year as an Amex Gold member. Now, when you combine that with offers like the Amex Platinum, you're really getting a nice multiplier. So you're going to probably get at least $4,000 or $5,000 for your vacation out of this, which is nice. You're basically going to be traveling for free. Assuming, like let's say you want to go to Europe, $2,256, there are round trip flights to Europe, nothing too fancy, but once you start, working the points and the redemptions, the value quickly begins to add up. Personally, for me, I like the Amex Gold as my next card because A, numbers make sense. I'm going to get my money back without a lot of changes in my spending. And because I already have the Amex Platinum, I'm going to have a war chest of nearly like 200,000 points to use on redemptions. So again, the value is there for me. I get the benefits of redemptions. I get a lot of status benefits through the Platinum, which I'm really a fan of. I'm really looking forward to the Centurion Lounge as well. So if you're looking to stack Amex Gold with Amex Platinum, the multipliers become really juicy, especially if you travel frequently and you're willing to route your travel through the Amex portal. Again, is the Amex Gold card for everyone? No, there are certain things that can make Amex cards a bad decision. If you live outside of the United States, you're not going to get the grocery store multiplier, and the Uber credit will essentially be useless for you. So I would argue that if you're an expat, the multipliers really don't make sense, and the value is much more contingent on the introductory offer through American Express. So that's another thing to consider. But all things being equal, the Amex Gold card in 2022 does present a very nice ROI on the high end. At 2 cents per point, you're looking at $2,256, assuming in the 4X spend categories an annual expenditure of $13,200. Again, that's pretty doable between 2 people. In terms of going out, eating out, $100 a week. If you're having a dinner out, like especially in New York, Los Angeles, you're going to be spending more money. So the value adds up really quickly. If you're traveling for work, if you're dining out and you're entertaining clients on this card, the multipliers really do begin to add up. Again, I'm not advocating spending more than you earn, but if you can get basically an extra $3,000 just by rerouting a little bit of your spending, that's not terrible. Again, I think the Amex Gold card is worth it, but I do think it's better to be conservative and probably assume for most people a redemption value of 1.5 to 1.25, since 2 cents per point through American Express based on some of the transfers and some of the offers, unless you're being really strategic, feels like a stretch. It just does. It's more realistic to expect a 1.5 through transfer partners. And again, that's still even a little on the high end. So you're probably maybe looking at like 1.4 to 1.35 for most people being the effective value of a point. Again, storing tons and tons of points doesn't make a lot of sense because they do depreciate very quickly. But I would recommend exploring this card if you are interested in getting a nice 10x in the first year of having it. Now, the continued benefit, at least if you have the card, the credits will cover the value of your membership. So if you're still spending on Uber Eats, if you're still going out with Uber, if you're still spending that money, just switching the spending to have the Amex Gold makes a lot of sense. But if you're not being strategic with how you spend, you're not budgeting, you're probably not going to get all the value out of the card.